everybody, Anthony is here, and in this video I will talk about how I prepared this miniature for the 3D printing. In the previous parts I talked about how I blocked it out, how I sculpted the head and sculpted the body, and now it's time to finally get it ready for 3D printing. And as usual, you can find a promo code to buy a 3D code in my description. So this is my array of objects, and I showed how I created this particular guys in the last part of the last video. But essentially it's really simple. I have the cylinders that fit into the holes quite well, so you don't even need a glue. I did a little mistake here that this hole for the for the body, for the neck is not that deep, so then the head would constantly pop out, so I had to glue it later on. But I was quite happy with it, and I also actually even had some mobility for the hand, so I was able to rotate it around. It was kind of fun to do. But it was all done just by Boolean operations. I would duplicate the leg and then subtract the skirt by this leg and get these guys. So this head is kind of hanging around. I can go and say snap it to the ground, and it doesn't want to do it. I think because my ground is a bit higher. Okay, it's also manages to do stuff like that. Yeah, I think my grid is a bit higher than that, but it doesn't really matter because I will be using Cura software for like object preparation, or for the object preparation for printing, so it's not a big deal. I would then just export these guys as OBJs. You don't even need to export them as STLs because it all goes to Cura, and Cura understands OBJs really quite well. Also, you can see here my poly count is pretty high. It's like 8 million triangles, but Cura wouldn't have any issues with the high poly count. It was working really fast. Like, I mean, maybe a bit slower than the regular mesh, but really no big deal. So here I dropped the arms, body and the legs inside the Cura, and I don't have the head here because the head I wanted to use a different infill, and the infill is essentially the density of the mesh of the print. So here I have it at 20, but I put it at like 90% for this body part, and I did it so then the body will be much heavier than the head, and then it will be harder to topple it over, it stands as it is, even if I printed it as one infill, the whole thing, and I've done it before, but it's not that stable. So I figured out that I need to print this at a much higher density. I'll have supports all over the place at this angle, and these are pretty much the only kind of things I need to worry about, and nothing really else. I mean, you can change the layer height here. I'm not really good expert, so because if you drop it like 3 times and make it much finer, you do get some clogginess happening on the surface of the print, so I'm not sure how to manage that. I just kept it at standard 12, gives me good enough quality. And then you just, everything you do, you just press slice and it will prepare the model. When I drop in the parts, you have just a self-explanatory buttons here to scale it and move it around. It's just nothing to really show and explain because it's pretty dumb and anybody can use it. So the slicing now is finished. I can click the preview button, loads it up, so it shows me all the layers and all the supports that it's going to build. Then I can just drag the slider and check it out how it's going to look, and you can see it's really dense. So usually you wouldn't really do it at that density. You can even just have nothing on the inside. It was like almost zero infill, but here it's super dense and it will print a heavy body. Then just click a save to file and drop it on a memory stick and plug it into the printer and get it done. And here, for example, I have the head, and I will rotate it to make it smaller. And I remember the scaling options from the previous parts, so I will go and scale it by 50 by double. So now this is the same scale as other parts. And I can go and start to modify the infill density. I can go and make it even, I think I can put it at 0 and let's see what happens. So I still have my supports everywhere where I need. And one thing also I didn't mention is I need a roughed build plate, because it really helps to adhere to the plate. And let's hit slice and see what we get. And now I'm in preview mode, so I can just put it down and check out the head. So it's all just empty on the inside, so it will be a super light head. It will not topple the body. And now we can go and print it out. So here are the photos of the printing. I don't really have any videos, but you can see the results. I'm pretty happy with the quality. If I spend some time polishing it, I will have got a better results, but I'm pretty lazy on this stuff. I just want to print it out and even leave all those little clogs on top and not really to care about anything. Then yeah, you can see like the front, I would have, ideally I would want to sand it and make it a bit smoother. You can see there's some little parts lying around which I would then put in place. And just you can see a bunch of test prints essentially. Some of them I tried to test print the whole body as well, which didn't do too bad of a job, but in the end I had to divide it in parts to get less artifacts. And yeah, I took it to the beach. I made a few photos for this video essentially. And this is it for the whole video series. I hope it was interesting for you guys, and feel free to ask me any questions. Now I no longer have a 3D printer. I might buy it later again. I just sold it a couple months ago. And done a lot of experimentations, and I hope this inspires you to try it for yourself. It's really cheap and really fun to do. It's definitely a thing if you're like spending a lot of time doing 3D art. I would definitely advise you to go check it out. It doesn't take much time and it's a lot of fun. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.